rush with 4, drop back 7. That is the recipe to beat Thomas Brady. Brendan Albert is here. I am Adrian Fedhue. This is going to be the Tom Brady film study. We're going to try and figure out how you beat the greatest of all time.
I mean, look, you pretty much have to look at a very, very small window of film of guys who were able to beat Brady. He is that unbelievable. It's one of those things, like I talked about this on the podcast that we were on recently, Adrian. I was sitting on a plane watching the Jags-Patriots game, going into the fourth quarter. Patriots are down, double digits, and the stranger next to me leans over to me and just goes, "You know Brady's going to win, right?" And I was like, "Oh, absolutely." Like it's one of those things, like we almost just blindly assume it. That's how scary this is when you play a guy like him.
Yeah, you have to play for 60 minutes, and Bill Belichick always figures you out in the fourth quarter.
Yep, absolutely. I think the thing when people play the Patriots, people don't understand, it's not just physically draining, it's so mentally draining because the Patriots have the ability to practice perfect, so in turn they play perfect. So what happens is, as a coach, as a player, you're almost overanalyzing every single thing you do, and that's why all of a sudden you see a simple play like a punt return or a simple play like a draw all of a sudden go for a touchdown. You're thinking, well, what the hell happened? It's because you guys were thinking so much that you didn't just let the play happen naturally, and you started overanalyzing.
All right, so we got 3 games that we're going to look at. We've got Super Bowl. Which one was that one? 42? The one? No, it wasn't 42. 46, I think.
46. 2008 was when the Patriots lost to the Giants.
Yeah, I think that was 42, and the one we're looking at is 46. So the NFL Game Pass, it goes back to 2011. That's the furthest you can go. So we got that. We got the Super Bowl from last year between the Falcons and Patriots, and we're going to look at some stuff from the AFC Championship game that we just saw recently. So the first thing we're going to look at, if you remember, Super Bowl 46, the first offensive series for the Patriots, first play was a safety. We're going to look at that right now.
Yeah, you want to talk about funny prop bets? I mean, that's always a weird one, like who's the first team to score, how do they score? Safety is one of those ones that no one ever picks, but it was the first points here in this game.
So we're going to take a look at this right now, and I'll tell you what, this is like some old school footage right here.
It is. Now let's talk about the first thing here. Let's talk about the field position. This is something that goes so underappreciated until all of a sudden your team loses by a field goal or a kick return or a block kick or a block punt. Special teams is crucial when you play an elite team like the Patriots here. Giants here got him with the ball, pinned back on the 5. Okay, so that's crucial. Now, here's the other thing that the Eagles are probably going to have to do, very similar to what the Giants did. The Giants stood up, put their set on the table, and said, look, we are going to win with our front 4 or we're going to lose with our front 4. And what I mean by that is most of the clips here you're going to see in the Giants game are going to be playing with 2 high safeties, meaning they are essentially saying we are not going to blitz. We're going to play 4 rush, 7 man. Now, what we're going to see in this clip here, guys, is you're going to see the running back is going to stay in and the tight end is going to stay in. This says the linebackers, okay, we can blitz now because we were man-to-man coverage with the running back and the tight end. If they're staying in, then we're going to come here too.
All right, so we're going to play this out here. We're going to go a little slow-mo. And it's hard to see these players.
I was telling Adrian this off air. I was playing an Xbox 360 the other day, and I thought I was going to get a migraine just because of like how much technology has changed from today versus a couple of years ago. It's just an awesome job here by the Giants front 4 for getting so much penetration right off the jump. And then as you'll see here, you get that loop here by the linebacker. This is what causes Brady to have to move a little bit. And because he has to move, he now has essentially ran out of his own time. He's moved out of the way that he has nowhere else to go besides essentially take the safety.
And the coverage downfield is excellent. You can see, I guess that's Chase Blackburn in his zone dropping back.
There's a name. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Chase Blackburn. It's hard to tell on these. This is like so old school. This is 2011. This is 7 years ago already.
I feel like we're watching like Madden 01 where you had the cheat code with Michael Vick where he could just run around people. This is like the same like video quality.
You can see Chase there. So
Just a great job here. You see how Brady has to step out to his right. Now you see that we're getting penetration. So now Brady's got nowhere else to go. And this is eventually why, you get Brady punched in the mouth. And we talked about this in our podcast, and my co-host Tony talked about this. You have to sack Brady, obviously, yes, but you have to hit him in the mouth. And as Tony said, and I completely agree with it, if you get a 15-yard penalty early, as long as it's not like on a third down situation, you almost can live with it because you just want to hit Brady as many times as possible.
Another tape that I wish I could have watched, but it's not available. I thought the best tactic used was by the Jets in 2010.
Yeah.
I remember that they actually activated 11 defensive backs for that game. So they were actually rushing with 3 and dropping back 8. They played a 3-4.
Yeah. I mean, they were getting situations where they only had 1 linebacker on the field on third down. It was like, 3rd and 8, and they're like, okay, we'll put 3 linemen, 1 linebacker, and then the rest will be DBs. Yeah.
So another recipe to beat Brady, beating him with inside pressure, making him kind of flush out of the pocket. And on this occasion, he actually throws a pick.
Yeah. Now, on this clip, the important thing to know here, guys, is this was in a no-huddle situation. So one thing that the Patriots will try to do is they'll try to no-huddle you. They'll try to dip and dunk, quick slants, do draws, quick runs, get 2, 3, 4 yards, and they'll try to no-huddle you. The reason this is important is you better have fresh bodies on that defensive line at all time. Giants, at this time, were very, very deep on the defensive line. They had defensive ends who could play tackle. They had tackles who could play ends. Very similar to what the Eagles' defensive room looks like in their defensive end front or defensive line front. So the Patriots, you can expect them at some point to go no huddle, and then it just comes down to, is our defensive line fresh? If you look at this clip here, you're going to see that the pressure is going to get Brady to have to scramble out and throw a little bit of a Hail Mary. And then, fortunately for the Giants here, they're able to take it away.
Yeah. And you can see how wide they're lining up there. That's some wide 9 technique.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just all about getting one-on-one here with the guy in the bottom of the screen, which I believe is Justin Tuck.
Yeah.
And eventually what happens is you get one-on-one with the center, and that's what allows our defensive tackle or our nose tackle in this formation to get Brady. Now, one thing you have to do is you have to get Brady off his spot. So here, when you get Brady off his spot, and now Brady's in that scramble mode where he's just going to put it up here. This is not a normal thing for Brady. For every one of these plays he has one of those game-winning drives in the fourth quarter. So when you play Brady, you almost have to get a little bit lucky that you get him hurried up in his head so much that he naturally has to start spinning out and throwing things away quick because his timing is getting messed up because, again, you're hitting him in the face early, you're getting pressure up the middle.
This will be a better look to show the pressure the inside. So you can see Tuck there. Just overwhelming the left guard. I don't know who the left guard New England was back in 2011. Number 70.
Yeah, I mean, you look here, and this just looks like the face of a panic quarterback. And this is not what we normally see in Brady. We normally don't see Brady running for his life, scrambling to his right, throwing back to his left. I mean, these are all things that, as crazy it is to say, you tell high school quarterbacks, don't run right, throw left. Now, when you're a guy like Brady, you're a little more okay to do it. But at the same time, this is just bad technique. But again, you can get in Brady's head early. And if we're watching this in the fourth quarter in a no-huddle situation, Brady thinks, oh my gosh, I have to make plays. I've been hit all game. I've been sacked all game. I'm going to throw the ball. And he doesn't realize that once he moved that first blocker, he could reset his feet and calm down. We could see here Brady's timing was all messed up in his head.
Yeah. All right, so that's enough from 2011 because the quality sucks. But you can kind of see a little bit of a recipe there. And obviously the Eagles have great defensive tackles with Fletcher Cox, Timmy Jernigan. You'll have Brandon Graham lined up. And the reason why I wanted to show this clip, think about who the guards are for New England. Shaq Mason going against Fletcher Cox, mismatch. Joe Tunney going against Brandon Graham or Timmy Jernigan, mismatch. You can get after Brady. The defensive tackles are actually the key. The defensive ends almost don't get there in time, but the D tackles, you can really collapse that pocket quick.
Big time. The D tackles is really what makes quarterbacks hate their life. Defensive ends, those are usually the sack artists and all of that. But if you have a really good D tackle, Aaron Donald, obviously Fletcher Cox, those type of guys in the world. That's what makes it nasty. Now, very similar to what we talked about with the Giants is very similar to what the Eagles can do. So much versatility on the defensive line. Now, when we watched last year's Super Bowl with the Falcons didn't have as much versatility per se, but they had a great athleticism with their defensive line, specifically Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett, Adrian, you and I were talking about this off air. Grady Jarrett was the guy I felt most sorry for because he was having the game of his career versus the Patriots, and it just wasn't enough. And that really sucks. But the truth is, that's what the Patriots do.
This is an unbelievable play. You're going to see him loop around. And the reason why I'm bringing this up and showing you this to you, Brendan, I don't know if you remember looking at some Fletcher Cox clips where he would bend around and swing around the tackle earlier on in the season. Maybe this is something we might see from the Eagles. It
is. So what we're going to see here, and Adrian, why don't we point out Grady Jarrett for those
who Jarrett right here.
Yep, exactly.
3 sacks in last year's Super Bowl.
Unbelievable, man. So Grady Jarrett's lining up in the A gap towards the boundary side, okay? Now, normally when we see stunts from defensive tackles, usually they'll be, pretty close to the side they're going to stunt to. So we can see Grady Jarrett's pretty close to the A gap. Usually you say a stunt, hey, maybe he's going to, jump over one gap to the opposite side of the center. Maybe he'll jump over 2 gaps if he's really good. This is a 300-pound man who you are going to ask to jump over 3 gaps against a quarterback who has one of the quickest releases in NFL history. So, again, you want to talk about standing up and putting your set on the table and saying we're going to win with our front or we're going to lose with our front. That's exactly what Atlanta did here in this play.
You know what? I'm going to show this. I'm going to show this in fast time because just to appreciate the athleticism. And then when we go end zone, we'll slow it down.
What we're going to see here from the defensive tackle and also the defensive end towards the field side, it's kind of like a pick situation. They're going to come down, they're going to slam hard, and then you're going to see Grady Jarrett just get into a full sprint to get around. Now, again, you got to get Brady off his mark. Brady does a good job of moving around in the pocket, but Grady Jarrett does an awesome job of flipping his hips again and then getting back to him, which is unbelievable athleticism here.
Unreal. And you'll see so you have Vic Beasley, you have Brooks Reed there, and they're setting the pick, as you like to call it.
100%. Because, look, Grady Jarrett, he's cutting right off their tail. Both of them cutting right off their tail here. And now he's making that full loop. What you're going to see, guys, as we move closer to the offseason, this is where the 3-cone drill is so crucial for defensive linemen. How quick can you flip your hips and get around in a straight line? Grady Jarrett here puts on an absolute perfect display of why that's so important.
And down goes Brady. Beat him into submission.
You got to do it, man. That's the only way you beat Brady.
Yep.
I still haven't seen many quarterbacks complete passes when they're laying on their back holding the football.
Yeah. All right, so next play we're going to look at some big on big. This is the pick 6 from last year. Yeah. So who do you think is going to play a key role in this game?
I think, the obvious one is going to be Fletcher Cox, Timmy Jernigan, Brandon Graham. I would say even Bo Allen. Anyone who's going to line up at D tackle is going to be really, really important, at least for the defensive group. Offensively, I think the biggest advantages for the Eagles is the ability to run the ball. I don't see any reason the Eagles shouldn't be able to run the ball. And I think Zach Ertz is should have a nice game too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Patriots allow 4.7 yards per carry on the ground, which is 31st in the NFL. But the thing is they're normally playing ahead, so a lot of teams don't run the ball in the second half. Well, the Eagles, I think they'll be able to keep it close throughout, and that's how you beat Brady. Long, sustaining drives, keep them off the field.
Yep, exactly. As long as Brady's in a baseball cap, you're probably winning the game.
Yeah, so check this out. So you got Grady Jarrett up on the nose tackle, but look how wide this right defensive end is. Who is that, 93? Who's 93?
This might be Dwight Freeney.
Dwight Freeney.
I'm not sure because I know they did sign him for a little bit. I don't know if he was on.
I think that is Dwight Freeney. Yeah. So you can see the wide gap here.
Yeah, what we're seeing here, this is going to be called BOB, or big on big. And essentially, it's just man up at the top from defensive line standpoint. Now, you pretty much can guarantee here that this guard, the left guard here, is going to double team down on the defensive tackle playing up on the center, as long as he comes his way. But as we're going to see here, this is just, again, we're putting your set on the table. Now, I always want to think about punch, counter punch. So here's the punch. The punch here is the Falcons are going to rush 3. Counterpunch eventually is going to be a draw if you get this formation a lot. But as we're going to see here, these 3 guys up at the top of our screen, they're going to be able to get home. And then what we're going to see here, this is a unbelievable thing that you need in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, is defenses to score points. And we're going to get a pick 6 here by Robert Alfred.
You can see the bull rush from Freeney. And that makes Brady get the ball out of his hands a split second faster than he wanted to. Alfred jumps in front. This is going the other way for 6.
Brady's good at a lot of things. He's really bad at running and making tackles.
Yes, he is.
This is not one of those quarterbacks who you're like, ooh, he might lay the boom on me. No. If Brady tackles you, you should probably just take your uniform off and walk right to the locker room right there.
I remember when Malcolm Jenkins had his pick 6, and his tackle attempt looked very, very similar to that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got celebrations in the end zone. All right, so now we look at the behind the end zone angle, and you just see Freeney just, oh man, got his hands underneath of shoulders.
Yep, exactly. And you're just watching. And again, if we go back, Adrian, and this end zone view is fantastic here. But when go back here and watch the fact of look at Brady's feet. He's got nowhere to step. I mean, his feet can't get set. He can't bring his lower body through. He's completely become an upper body thrower, and that's what causes the ball to be inaccurate. If a quarterback can't get his feet pointed in a direction, it's going to be an interception. That's why when you collapse the pocket on a guy like Brady, look, nowhere. His feet aren't set. His body is leaning off to his right. There is nothing below the belt that's in a good position for Brady. That's what allows this ball to be off-centered. That's why Robert Alfred's taking this the other way, and they're getting the dirty bird dance in the end zone.
Speed to power. Life training.
Speed to power. This is another one of those common terms that you're going to hear all off season long. It's all about how quick can you get off the ball and drive that offensive lineman back.
Boom. And there you go. There's the flailing tackle attempt from Tom Brady. Tom Brady might be the worst tackling quarterback of all time.
Yeah, I would love to know, what is his tackle rating at Madden? Because I mean, those Madden rankings are always hilarious to me, but whatever they gave Brady, it's still too high.
So now we're going to look at the AFC Championship game. And one of the things that the Patriots like to do, they like to run pick plays, and they like to use Gronk as the picker.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Guy's 6'7", 250 pounds. He's like a power forward in the NBA. It's like, hey, it makes total sense for him to be the pick man because he's probably the biggest offensive skill player in the NFL. So, yeah, it makes a ton of sense for him to be the picker.
By the way, you want to take a look at some Pro Bowl film?
Sure don't. Sure don't want to look at the Pro Bowl.
Can you believe that they have Pro Bowl film? Like, that's ridiculous.
Oh, my God. I am amazed that people still absorb the Pro Bowl. What I'm going to be really interested to see here, Adrian, the first what's going to have more views, the Pro Bowl or the first game of the XFL?
Oh, man.
I mean,
depends if Johnny Manziel's playing.
That's a great point. If Johnny Manziel or Vince Young or RG3 for the XFL, they're probably going to have more viewership than a lot of games in the NFL. But, God, the Pro Bowl is such a joke.
It is. No, it is. All right, so back to the game at hand. By the way, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, you already ruined the XFL by not letting Johnny play. You ruined it.
Yep. And Adrian, you and me, we talked the XFL to death on my last podcast, but I thought we did a really good job of giving some layers on why the XFL, you actually should care a little bit about it.
I might upload that.
I think you should.
I will. All right, so let's back to the game at hand and, what we really want to talk about here. Yeah. So let's take a look at this.
So we go back to the Jags game now, okay? The Jags we're going to look in that pick situation here. So Gronk's is going to be
out wide. Gronk's out wide on this play.
Yep, exactly. So you know that when you have a situation like Gronk there, you automatically have to say, hey, levels, meaning that the corner and the safety cannot be on the same yard marker. So as you can see here, this corner, he's pressed up, and essentially the safety or the nickel, depending on what the player personnel is about a yard back. This is all about allowing guys to pass through. one of the games that we broke down much earlier in the year when the Eagles beat the Panthers, if you remember correctly, there's a clip where Nigel is screaming at Jalen Mills, I believe, that to get on a different level, because eventually what that allows was Nigel to get over the top and tackle Christian McCaffrey when he ran an out route. This is crucial for the Patriots, because if you are going to start rushing four and you're starting to get home, naturally, again, the punch is the Eagles throwing those front four, getting after it. The counter punch, what are the Patriots going to do? Pick plays, getting the ball out in 1-step, 3-step drops.
By the way, this is an amazing play by Jalen Ramsey.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He is so underrated. First off, Jalen Ramsey, he can talk as much shit as he wants because he backs every bit of it up.
Yes, he does. He's a sassy one, too.
Oh, I love it. I freaking love it, dude. But as we watch this play here, great job of getting over the top of it, Gronk not being able to screen him, and then you have to tackle in space. You have to tackle in space with the Patriots, because this is what they're going to do. They're going to get the ball out quick, and they're going to try to get one-on-one matchups. Jalen Mills, we talked about you this year. You haven't tackled well in space. You have to tackle well in space on Sunday.
Look at him just like loop around the pick and then just dart. That angle he takes, perfect.
It's a perfect angle getting right to the hip of him. And the most impressive thing about this is all the momentum is going backwards. That shows how good of a tackler Jalen Ramsey is. And again, it's a small thing. But when you play the Patriots, you might do this in the first quarter and it might be, a gain of 2. But in the fourth quarter, can you still do this and not miss the tackle? Because if you miss the tackle, it's a big play.
Yeah, and you can see him after the play. He's talking. He's yapping it up. Awesome.
I'm cool with it.
Awesome. As long as you can back it up. See, Jalen Mills last year, he was wagging the finger when he was getting beat. But this year, playing a lot better, you can wag the finger.
I've always said this about defensive backs. 90% of the time when they're talking junk, it's not to put you down. It's to make them believe they are that good. It's like self-confidence reassurance. Jalen Mills, it's self-confidence. Jalen Ramsey, it's no, he's that dude, and he wants you to know it.
Yeah, he's that good. All right, so another mismatch for the Eagles potentially. Marcus Cannon got injured in October. I believe he had an ankle injury. He's on IR.
Yep.
So the right tackle now is Cameron Fleming.
Yep.
And this is another matchup that the Eagles can exploit with Brandon Graham, Chris Long, and we're going to see it right here. He gets beat on this play.
And what we're going to see here, guys, unlike the Giants film, Giants played a lot of too high. The Jags didn't necessarily need to play as much too high because they ran more stuff under to bracket Gronk. Now, this is obviously Gronk in 2011 versus Gronk today, two very, very different players.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So here he's a nightmare. 2011, he was good, but now he's a freak.
Yep.
Now, when we watch this, pre-snap, what is that offensive line seeing? They're seeing 5 guys in the box. They're seeing 5 guys essentially right in front of their offensive line. But eventually the Jags, they're just going to bring 4. So this is all about creating the illusion of trying to get them to check their protection differently and then bring 4 and then blitz 1. In a perfect case scenario, you can show the blitz and then Brady is going to say, hey, Gronk, you got to stay in now. And then Gronk stays in to pass protect. And now you drop out, and now Gronk's is just a big pass protection. And you're like, cool, Gronk's not in this play. Let's play football.
Yeah. So we're going to play this one. I believe that's Dante Fowler, 56.
Yep, Dante Fowler here, first-round draft pick from a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now for the Jags.
Maybe 3 years ago.
Oh, God, I'm getting old, dude.
Yeah, but you can just see there. He beats him right outside shoulder, just bends the edge real quick.
Yep, all speed here. All speed and getting good leverage here.
And that's what he's known for, his speed.
Yep.
Speed rusher.
And this is what we're going to need to see from the rookie here, Derek Barnett. This is exactly what we're going to need to see from him. When we start to win with Timmy Jarnigan and we start to win with Bo Allen and Fletcher Cox and, Brandon Graham, okay, Derek Barnett, can you make this play? You made a big one in the Vikings game. Can you do another one in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. So what are you seeing there technique-wise from the tackle? What's going on?
Just being laid out of his stance. I mean, that's sometimes as simple as it is. He's just laid out of his stance. He's already in a wide 9 technique, so angles already are going to favor the defensive end. So if you're not quick out of your stance and your hands aren't quick, you're going to lose every single time.
Cameron Fleming. Remember the name because he's going to get beat like a drum.
Yeah. Brady does not want to see Cameron Fleming's face at all during the game. And if he's seeing his face, it's for all the wrong reasons because he's become a turnstile. Yep. Look at the sloppy hand placement up here on the shoulder. That's too high, dude. As a defensive end, I'm going to dip and rip underneath that and make that play every time.
Hey, it's mincemeat.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to talk a little prop bets for the Super Bowl as I load the next clip?
Prop bets. There's so many fun ones here, guys. So as we talked about in our podcast, there are ones like, will Pink at any time be elevated? Absolutely, in my mind. Will NSYNC have any other members make appearance? Justin Timberlake? Absolutely, in my mind.
Actually, Justin Timberlake announced yesterday during this press conference that will not be NSYNC at halftime.
Ooh, then you better run to Vegas and put money down on them. You better sprint before they make that. But my favorite one is that my boy Mike Skolsky brought up. Will Donald Trump tweet more than 5 times during the Super Bowl?
That's the best one. That's the best one right there.
The best one.
And you know it's going over.
Oh, yeah. I took the over. I said to myself, probably once per quarter and then once at the end of the game. So he'll make at least one before it. And I'm going to guarantee he'll make one tweet about players all standing for the national anthem.
Oh, sure.
I'm taking the over there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this clip here, the way to defend Gronk. This is perfect coverage by the Jaguars. So you want to hit him off the line of scrimmage with the press, and this is if I remember it correctly, they bracket coverage him.
Yep. Now it's important to know this is on third down here. So on third down, this is the plays where you can say, hey, it's third and long. Let's take away their best player. Obviously, it's Gronk. If this is second down, you might not necessarily want to do this per se because you're still worried about the run type of situation. But third down, you can say, hey, we're going to take a backer and a safety to move to Gronk. So what you're going to see here essentially is like a stack look by the two safeties, and that's because the lower safety, he's going to play over the top of Gronk. The other safety is just going to play the middle of the field. Now, when you play elite tight ends, again, this is a high school statement, but it's still true into college and the NFL. No free release. The tight end, every single time, you have to get hands on him, whether you're a defensive end, a linebacker, or a safety. You cannot allow these guys getting a full head of steam without being rerouted. So as we take a peek here, nice job here of not allowing a free release, and then you're going to see that bracket coverage of a player underneath him and then a player over the top of him.
So we'll play it again. Do a little slow. This is perfect. This is how you defend Gronk right here. This is a perfect illustration.
100%. And we see the ability to get him off of his spot, and then we get the safety playing over the top. There's nowhere there. And Brady knows it. He goes, all right, well, now I got to throw it over the middle of the field. Yeah. So that's why you have that stack safety look. So you have the other safety to play the middle of the field. Beautiful.
Man, you make it sound so easy when you break it down.
I'll try.
Just so nonchalant. You can shit talk like Jalen Ramsey. It's okay.
Look,
I'm the best one on YouTube. No one can break it down like me.
I wish I had like this much of swag of Jalen Ramsey just for one day. So actually, just an awesome job here.
This might be a good view too.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. And by the way, who's jamming him?
Jalen Ramsey.
That dude.
That dude.
Dude. And then you see Barry Church flying over the top. There's nowhere here. This is just perfect bracket coverage.
And you could see Brady was looking at him the whole time. He had to come off him.
I loved when someone asked Jalen Ramsey, how do you defend Gronk? And he said, Gronk's never played me. I love that. Just love that. But, I mean, the other thing you have to give credit for the Jags, the reason they were able to get this good is they had homers with all of their picks the last several years in a row. That's what allowed them the money to go out and sign A.J. Aboye, because you have arguably the best corner in Jalen Ramsey making a rookie contract.
Yeah. Dude, Jalen Ramsey, he's going to be very, very high on my rankings next year.
Yep. And I don't care. People can be like, oh, you're biased. Yeah, I am. I'm biased to good football players, and he's a really good football player. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. He's excellent. He's tremendous. Honestly, he might be my number one corner. I'm not even going to lie.
He's up there.
I like him that much.
Yeah, he's up there. We got a lot of good corners in the league this year.
Yeah. All right, so this play here, so we see again the defensive tackles against the guards and lined up on the outside shoulders. So, something like this, it's hard for the center to double team.
It is. It really makes that center feel like, well, my job pretty much to snap the ball and just kind of hope everyone else does their job, because there's not much he can do, honestly, because the defensive tackles are lined up so wide. Now, again, punch, counter-punch conversation here, guys. The punch. Third down, we're going to play a spread defensive line look to get big on big. D tackles on guards, ends on tackles. And then the center, he's pretty much useless. Counter-punch. Counter-punch here is going to be a draw. So on 3rd and 10, you can do this because maybe you're not necessarily worried about a draw play being run. If this is 3rd and 4, I would say less than 3rd and 6, a draw could be an easy counter-punch here for the Patriots. So it's all about that punch-counter-punch that you're going to see here from the coaching staff here.
All right, so let's play this. And let's see what happened here. Because I don't remember.
And I would say this here, guys, I would probably say that the Jags have the best defensive line in the NFL as a 1A. Eagles are a 1B. They're right there. But what you're going to see here is a very similar conversation we talked about with the Giants. We're going to play too high. We're going to win with our front four, or we're going to lose with our front four. And on this play, the Jags win with it. The Eagles are going to have to do the same thing.
And again, Brady's off his spot.
Got to get him off your spot. It's all about that. Get him off your spot, because he's not someone who's going to be able to move in the pocket, reset, and throw like Aaron Rodgers, for example.
Yeah. And there you go. Down goes Brady. I think he went down. Did he go down?
Yep.
Yes, he did. And they're pumped.
Love it, dude. I mean, look, you can eat all the avocado ice cream or all the water or make your body become like Gumby or whatever the hell Brady thinks he can do. But if I have 4 defensive linemen who can beat your 6 blockers, I'm going to win this game more often than not.
That's Malik Jackson, I think, just overwhelming Shaq Mason.
Yep. Another one of those guys, big contract guys by the Jaguars.
Yeah. That's Yannick Ngakoue. That's making him move. And then Falcons gets a sack.
And Ngakoue was a late draft pick, so it saves money. So now you can spend money on Malik Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, they're building it the right way there in Jacksonville.
They are.
We'll see if they can get a quarterback.
I mean, they only got about $10 million in salary cap this year, so it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do.
Do you go after Eli?
I oddly think that the Giants keep Eli. Their GM hire of bringing in an old guy who's been part of the Giants, franchise, bringing in a head coach who's going to be very nostalgic to Eli. As stupid as it is to say, I could see the Giants keeping Eli and trading back in the first round and maybe not getting a quarterback and trying one later. I think it's stupid, but I think that's very realistic what could happen.
A conversation we didn't have during the film study, but I'll ask you now because it was kind of hard to find stuff for this. But playing press man coverage at the line of scrimmage. Now, obviously, the Eagles, they play more off coverage, and I'm curious to see if Jim Schwartz is going to press a little bit because if Brady's out there, quick 3-step drop, getting the ball out quick, you want to play press to disrupt the timing between he and the wide receivers. But I don't know if we're going to see that from Jim Schwartz.
It's tough because, the Jags, you can do it because you have A.J. Aboye and Jalen Ramsey. Your personnel allows you to do that. You don't necessarily have that as much, with the Eagles. Honestly, the guy, who would probably be best suited for that would be Sidney Jones. But at the same time, I'm not sure I'm ready to trot Sidney Jones out there and say, hey, I'm going to have you run press because if you lose on the press, all of a sudden this could be a touchdown the other way. So I'm interested to see how much, growth and how much confidence they have in Sidney Jones here. It's the biggest game of the year. So I would not be surprised if they don't play him a ton because they're going to go more conservative, play with the guys who got you here, which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
But as far as a matchup situation, Sidney Jones offers you the best advantage there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to guess we may not even see Sidney Jones.
It's possible.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll just real quickly, but before we go, Super Bowl pick, MVP pick, who you got?
Yeah, so I got the Birds here. I'm going to take the Birds 31-27. I think the Eagles are going to be able to score some points on them. I think the biggest advantage for the Eagles is running the ball.
Yeah.
My number, I changed my number heavily since our podcast when I started actually thinking about it. I think the Eagles need to get at least 125 yards rushing. If you can get 125 yards rushing, win the turnover battle, and most importantly, and underappreciated, win the return game. Because if you look at the game of the Jags final 4 drives only had about 60 yards of offense. So you're like, okay, well, that's not terrible. So how did the Patriots beat them? They had a 20-yard return on the game-winning drive. So that's how they are able to beat them. So you got to win the return game. I'm going to say the Eagles win 31-27, and that the MVP, I'm going to go with Zach Ertz. I think he's going to make a big first down in the fourth quarter that's going to clinch the game.
Okay. Another thing that I was considering showing, but I actually didn't. Well, because I wanted to make this How to Beat a Brady show. But the other reason why I didn't use this clip, it was all the way back in week 1 when the Patriots were actually struggling with their defense.
Yeah.
But I was going to look at some Kareem Hunt stuff and how he was able to gash New England. But then again, it's like it's a completely new different defense from week 1, so it's almost not fair to look at week 1 stuff at this point.
Yeah, that's certainly fair. I think the reason that we use the 2011 Super Bowl is because that formula is still true today.
Yes.
I mean, the Patriots defense is a very much a bend, don't break. Well, in that Chiefs game, they were breaking on every play. Okay.
Yes, they were.
I mean, you were getting, Hunt was running free, Tyreek Hill was running free. So they're going to be a defense that you're going to have a drive of 40, 50 yards, and then the last 10 yards, all of a sudden it's like, okay, where do they bring these new 11 guys? Because that's what the Patriots do. So it's a lot about converting touchdowns in the red zone. It's very, very important for the Eagles.
Yeah, so I've read off the stat on several shows this week, but first 4 games they allowed 32 points per game. Over their last 12, only 14. That led the NFL.
Yeah. It's unbelievable here. I mean, there's a good reason why Matt Patricia deserves a head coaching job in the NFL, because you take away those 2 corners, there's not a single Pro Bowl level player on the Patriots defense.
Yeah. Also, just real quick too before we depart, you basically want to play man-to-man against Brady. You really don't want to play a lot of zone or blitz because he'll pick it apart.
Yeah. You got to play a multiple different coverages with Brady just to kind of, again, give him different looks. And a lot of times it's also about giving the receivers different looks, because the Patriots run so many option routes with Amendola that you need to make sure that they're not comfortable always knowing, hey, this is, all right, looks like it's a zone defense here. Okay, I need to sit down. This is a man defense. Okay, I need to run the deep cross now. You need to run these multiple looks. But on third down, that's where I probably say you need to run mostly of your man and then make sure those front 4 guys are fresh and are able to flat out eat.
Yeah. All right, Super Bowl 52 is 2 days away. The forecast is saying it's going to rain, it's going to snow, so on Broad Street, it's going to be snowing. I'm going to be partying in the snow potentially.
Hopefully. And the coolest thing about all of this just came out. Double XL posted that the Eagles are going to come out to Dreams and Nightmare by Meek Mill. Yeah. So I'm putting the Eagles. I have much more confidence in the Eagles. I would love to know, did the Vegas line change when they announced that Meek Mill was the entry song?
It may have. So get your bets in. Get your prop bets in. 2 days away. That's Brennan Albert. I am Adrian Vecchio. Enjoy the game.
Go Birds.
Go Birds!